So, without further ado, let me introduce you guys to what we're actually going to be speaking about. So, we know that this is the end of the year, it's the holiday season, and really our gift to you is giving you guys outreach hacks and allowing you to get the most out of your outreach instance. So, today we're going to tackle three main things. First is tips to maximize your prospecting efforts and close more opportunities before the holidays wrap up. Two is best practices to clean up your outreach instance for the new year. And three is how to best set yourself up for success in 2023. So I'm not going to hold up this conversation much more. I'm going to kick it over to Jacob Turner and this amazing crowd of outreach OGs, and a special shout out actually to JT, who's dialing in during his paternity leave to give us this information and to be somebody from outreach who's showing us the ropes. So again, thank you guys all for being here. Jacob, take it from here.
Thanks so much, Tess. And thank you, Tess, for joining us as well during this holiday season. I mean, Sales Hacker puts on great work, great webinars for all of you sales folks out there, sales leaders. Really appreciate you bringing us all together. Sweet. All right, I'm going to share my screen out. We're going to share some slides, introduce ourselves. Let me put us in slideshow mode here. All right. Can y'all see my screen? Perfect.
Oh, mute.
There we go. So today
we're proper Zoom without muting. So got that out of the way early.
Santa's favorite outreach hacks. Okay, so let's cover a little bit about the speakers before we get in. So Leslie, go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll go JT, and then I'll introduce myself, and I'll get into the content.
Awesome. Thank you all for joining. So my name's Leslie. I am a former outreacher. I was trainer number one when I started back in January 2019. I was the first person on the what is now customer education team. I parted ways over the spring and then joined Jacob in Zebra Consulting. So we handle kind of all things outreach with a specific focus on training. So really excited to walk you through some of the tips and tricks that I learned along the way and share some quick wins for you all today. JT.
Right. Happy holidays, everyone. I'm JT Sweeney. I'm a technical solutions architect here at Outreach. Been with Outreach for 4.5 years with a little stint at Salesforce in between. It is, thank you, Tess. It is most certainly the OG crew. We have a lot of outreach experience among everyone in the panel here. But for me, I've been on the solutions consulting team here at Outreach for 4.5 years. Here to talk all things related to not only the product, but how we're going to use it best. So excited to jump in. Jacob, take it away. Take us home.
All right. Thanks, JT. Thanks, Leslie. All right, everybody. I'm Jacob Turner, founder and CEO of Zebra Consulting. I was actually the second employee of Outreach back in 2015. So me and David Lewis were sitting side by side with Manny Medina and Andrew Kinzer and Wes and Gordon. And it was just us in a green room massage studio. It was like Seahawk green. Anyway, that's a longer story. But been doing outreach consulting ever since I left. I was there for about 3 years and excited to start this business and really democratize some of these best practices and bring the knowledge that we've learned, or that I've learned and that all of us have learned from some of the most effective and mature users of the platform to some folks who might not have that experience or that ability to get that knowledge. So really excited to be here with you all, and let's get into the content. Hey, so Tess already mentioned this, but I'll reiterate. The agenda for today is to talk about tips to maximize your prospecting efforts and close more opportunities before the holidays, best practices to clean up your outreach instance for the new year, and how to set yourself up for success in 2023. So we're going to be going a little bit back and forth between slides and showing the outreach instance, but also feel free to add your questions to the chat, to the Q&A section, wherever you feel more comfortable adding that information, because we want this to be interactive. So let's go ahead and jump right in.
And bonus points to those who participate in chat. We want to hear from you too. So if you got questions or if you're just super excited to see something, pop in chat and throw it out to everybody. We want this to be interactive.
Absolutely. Okay. So we're going to break this down a little bit more. So this is kind of just an overview slide for you. But what we're going to talk about here is maximizing your prospecting efforts using these tricks. Okay. So the first one is creating a holiday template or a special snippet to customize your messages when connecting with prospects. Okay, so this is like that one-off message that you send to someone that says, "Hey, happy holidays." We actually have a template we're going to show you in just a moment, but that's going to weave into this next feature, which is essentially getting the out-of-office information from those customers, right? When you're emailing people during the holidays, when they're likely out of office, you're going to get an autoresponder for a lot of them, right? We're going to show you how to capture the information from that auto response. And the last one is looking for low-hanging fruit by using outreach opportunities, right? This goes into finding your closed lost prospects, or maybe even the people who were unresponsive, or the people who said they're not ready right now, whatever that case is, finding those people again who said, oh, they don't have money today, or they're already using a competitor. Well, we want to reach back out to them. Okay. We're going to show you how to find those folks really quickly. Okay. All right. So first off, for the holiday template, this is one that we wrote, and actually I'm going to drop it into the chat. If anyone wants to use this, feel free. But basically it's giving that holiday spirit to the customer, saying, I should be getting an auto reply with a note about you being with family and unplugged from work, but I wanted to send you a season's greeting from mine to yours, right? In there, we put a comment variable where it says bracket, exclamation mark, insert family photo. Right. This is that hyper personalization that you hear from Beck Holland. You hear from all the greats out in the LinkedIn world. The personalization is what allows you to connect with another person. Right. If we're not connecting on a personal level, we're less likely to get that person to respond or engage with our content. Right. So not only are we just sending a message that has nothing to do with sales, technically nothing to do with us selling our product, I should say. It's actually giving us more connection to the other human, right? So this is a great addition to your sales process, your sales strategy, and it's another way to get in touch with that customer and get more data out of it, which we're going to talk about next.
All right, I'll take over. Let's show you what this looks like in actual outreach. So let me share my screen real quick. I will bring up my outreach demo instance here. So there's a few ways that you can tackle this, depending on your level of permissions. Some folks may have permission to create sequences, templates, and snippets. Other teams, maybe you're able to create snippets, but maybe not templates or sequences. So it depends on your level of permissions, but you have options. So I took that holiday template that Jacob provided, and I actually popped it in here yesterday. I created this. We've got our holidays 2022. This is what it looks like in Outreach. Now you've got the rendering over on the left. That's the draft that Jacob shared. And then here's a little preview of what it looks like over on the right. So if you have the ability to create your own templates, you can pop in here and you can actually click plus template to create something like this. Or perhaps maybe you're a leader on this call. You can, as a leader, create one of these that your whole team can use, which is a real quick win. You'll notice that not all of it's filled in though. So this one right here, Jacob was alluding to this comment variable. That's what that's called. This is a prompt to remind you to insert that family photo. If you're creating one for yourself, I'd probably just put the image in here without even using this comment variable. You can insert images into emails. That's done here at the bottom when you're drafting the template. Now, if you don't have the ability to create templates, the way that you'll know is this will not say plus template. This will actually just say actions. If you don't have the ability to create a template, but you do have the ability to create a snippet, you can always pop in here to create that snippet. And snippets can be something simple like a photo. So in this case, you can see here on the left, that's me and my husband and our two dogs. So you've got Wiggles, she's the gray face over here, and then Mr. Snacks is our psycho puppy. So if I wanted to drop this into an email or maybe multiple emails to my, let's just say my top accounts, you can do that over here, whether you're from the prospects section or from the account section. You really can do both. I'll show you from the prospect section. Let me just grab an example. So I have all sorts of little Christmas presents in here. Bonus points to those who get some of these references. So let's say I want to send communication to Tom, and maybe I created that as a single step sequence, or maybe I just created a single template, email template, depending on what approach you want to take. In this case, let's just say I want to send a single email. I can come down here, I can grab that holiday template, and because I favorited it, it's at the top of the list. Now, notice it's not quite done yet. I still need to insert that photo. So I'm going to highlight that, take my comment variable out. I'm going to pop in here and grab my doggo picture. There you go. So this is just a single email. Notice it also has a clickable link to my calendar as well. You can do this from Gmail, you can do this from Outlook, or you can do this from inside of Outreach, which is what I was just highlighting. So bonus points to those who are getting my references built into my demo environment here. But that is how you can quickly leverage Outreach templates, snippets, and bonus points. You're going to get out of office responses, which is what we're going to cover next. So I will stop sharing my screen. Jacob, do you want to take back over for screen sharing?
All right. So we just saw how to get the template into Outreach, and then using the snippets to actually pop in a picture, right? That now you can actually use for every person that you're going to send this message to. Okay. So the benefit here, and one of the technical things that a lot of people see happen in Outreach, but don't really know how to operationalize, is that finding the new information, right? Contact info capture, which JT Sweeney has coined during our prep calls for this, which I was just calling it out of office capture or something like that. Anyway, when you start to get these out of office replies, go ahead, Leslie, tell them what's going to happen when they start to get this information.
Yeah, so what you're looking at here is a screenshot from Gmail. On our next slide, you're going to see a screenshot from what this looks like in Outlook. The keys here, in order for this to work, you have to have the Outreach extension downloaded. If you're thinking, oh, do I have that? Stop everything. Make sure you have the Chrome extension downloaded, especially if you're a Gmail user, because that's what enables this functionality here. Outlook, there you go. I love the artistry. Outlook, you will need to have the add-in downloaded. So one step before this works, but once that's enabled, Outreach then kind of overlays your inbox, and it can detect when you get an out of office message. It's smart enough to recognize, oh, hey, flagging this email because in the message, maybe they've provided additional information. For example, let's say you have one phone number for somebody that you've been trying to reach for ages, and then all of a sudden you get an out of office message and they've provided 3 phone numbers. Well, guess what? You can add that to the record. Additionally, too, if they've provided additional contact information for someone else, and this truly is the magic of this functionality, like this time of year, if their out of office is like, hey, I'm gone until, December 27th, but in my absence, you can reach my boss at this email address and this phone number. You can then snag that contact information and bring them into Outreach and potentially put them into a sequence. So the screen capture that you see here, the functionality is the same. They just look a little bit different. The key is you need to have the Chrome extension downloaded, or if you're an Outlook shop, you need to have the add-in installed.
Perfect. Yeah, this is such gold right here, because when customers don't provide you this information, or it's not located in Zoom info, the best way to get it, you're going to get a flood of out of office responses when you send people emails on the holiday season when likely everyone is out of office. You're going to be able to enrich all of your records and start to re-engage some of those folks who were not responsive to you in the past, but didn't have the out of office where you were able to capture more info. So now I'm going to pass it on to JT, because we're going to talk a little bit about how you can re-engage those opportunities that were closed lost in the past. And now that you have more contact information, you have a little bit more oomph behind that engagement. So JT, take it away.
Can do. Real quick plug related to the out of office contact info. When we kicked this off for one of the beta customers, after turning it on, they realized they were missing up to 50,000 different points of contact information, right, in a month after a month of using it. So it can be really impactful for getting the highest quality, most relevant data. So highly recommend anyone doing some prospecting, go back and check on your inbox to see if you get a little prompt from the Outreach Chrome extension or Outlook add-in. And thank you, Bruds and team, for plugging the Outlook add-in link as well.
Yeah,
So with
I
that
love
in
your
mind,
comment that Zoom info, that's gold. That is absolutely true.
that's it. And speaking of gold, we're going to be looking for buried treasure in our closed lost ops. I think a favorite phrase I learned from a couple early SCs here at Outreach is that a closed lost opportunity is the next warmest lead for anybody in business development. So really want to showcase how you can actually review that and then take action on it. So I'm actually going to dive in and share my screen. And I will show our opportunities page. Can everyone see my ops page in Outreach? We good? Yeah? Give me that thumbs up. Awesome. So now I have logged into Outreach, and instead of going into prospects or accounts, I'm on the opportunities tab. Now within the opportunities tab, I can build a bunch of different views. And in this case, I'm looking at closed lost opportunities that occurred within the last 90 days, meaning they looked at us, they evaluated us at some point, but we lost the opportunity, right? You can add different filters and reasons based on data that you get from your CRM. You can actually sync that into Outreach. We'll also show you a way if you're not using Outreach opportunities to do that same motion and go through that. And Leslie will help me as you talk through that. But if you do have ops syncs, one of the huge benefits is you can go into these closed lost ops. You can review within the opportunities, who do you want to reach back out to, right? So in this case, we'll look at this opportunity, and Sander here and say, okay, within these ops, we have a couple different prospects that we've been talking to. How do we get them re-engaged for the new year, right? Maybe it was a budget issue, right? And you can add different reasons for that. Maybe it was just a bad timing, or maybe we lost out to a competitor, but it's on a 1-year cycle contract. I want to put them into a nurture sequence, right? How do we operationalize that? All we have to do is select those given opportunities within Outreach, select our prospects that are associated within them, and boom, now I have a list going across those 3 opportunities I picked to say, here are the prospects I was working with. Here are the people I talked to, right? And let's say we have a couple that we've already worked or in progress. Sounds like this rep is doing their job at least part of the way, doing a great job reaching out, but we haven't talked to Thorin or Jared or Mary, right? And we see them as a value add to kick back off the conversation. Now I can quickly go across these ops, select the folks that I want to reach back out to, again, if it makes sense to do so, and quickly add into a nurture sequence, right? And here's another opportunity that I know Leslie and Jacob are well familiar with, is building those nurture sequences for the new year, right? That's something we'll talk about or get to later on, but they're a huge value add, especially as you kick off the new year and you want to nurture some closed lost opportunities. Here's a way to put it into action. Leslie, Jacob, anything you wanted to add to that?
I do want to call out a good question that came up, and Jacob, I think you addressed it perfectly in chat, but for those who maybe don't have chat open right now, some of you might be in Outreach wondering, why don't I see this? Why does mine look different than yours? The opportunities tab is something that has to be enabled, and then opportunities need to intentionally be synced from your CRM into Outreach in order for this to look and work this way. In my experience, not all customers sync opportunities, sometimes because they have a reason not to. Other times they maybe just don't realize the value add. So talk to your admins, talk to your leadership if this is something that you feel might be powerful functionality. It is possible to update Outreach orgs to include opportunities.
Tell them to reach out to Jacob at Zebra Consulting and we'll
Exactly right.
do it. No.
There's the plug. Yeah.
So one thing, JT, just want to point everyone's attention to, and you can close this box, the sequences box, is at the top of the screen. You'll see these different close reasons, right? Close not interested, close bad timing, no reply, no budget, left company, so on and so forth, right? These are essentially the same or a similar process of what JT was talking about with your close opportunities, close lost ops. These are your close lost engagements, essentially, right? Who did you reach out to who said they were not interested, right? These are those reasons, right? No budget was a reason, bad timing was a reason. Well, if you have those reasons, you can go in and say, hey, I remember back a few months ago, you said you didn't have budget or that it was bad timing. I wanted to reach back out because it's been a long time and I'm wondering if you have budget now. Or let me actually introduce you to this new program that we're doing where we give you half off at the end of the year if you purchase today. I'm sure most of you are still chopping at the bit to close out the year strong. So this is an opportunity to reach out to those people, offer them that discount, offer them, some other lever to get them to engage with you and to maybe even close a deal, depending on how long those sales cycles take.
And just a quick tip too, it's clickable, right? Everything you see at the top here, you can filter and quickly click on, and suddenly now I have my filtered, right? Of those various prospects I had that were 10 in this case, it could be 100 for you all. You want to distill it down to the folks that are bad timing, no budget, left company, whatever your dispositions are, right? Based on the stage, you can just instantly filter off that.
One of the little nuggets of gold that I learned actually from a former SDR manager at Outreach, Brooke. She was a ninja at this stuff. And I asked her, like, hey, what tips and tricks would you recommend? She's like, well, if you think about it, especially somebody in like an SDR role, when you're new, you don't really know what you're doing. You're trying your best, but you don't know the product yet, potentially. And, there's some missed opportunities there. She's like, I will create call lists. I'll go back and look at the stuff from like when they were brand new and they truly didn't know what they were talking about. She's like, reach out to them after they've been there for 6 months, 9 months, like that's a different conversation. So good way to open a conversation. Just a couple of tricks here on the opportunities page.
Perfect.
And on the inverse, again, as Leslie mentioned, if you don't sync the opportunities, which you should, but if you don't sync over the opportunities, there is also a way to do that based on the different outreach stages that you have, right? So I'm clicked over into my prospect view, and now I'm looking at a list of prospects based on the outreach stage that they were in, right? So if they were closed out within an outreach stage, say they were unresponsive or they didn't reach out to us, or again, if there's different reasons, you can add to that. And you can go through that same exercise that we just showed you from an opportunity standpoint. You can do the exact same thing from a prospect page as well.
All right, team. So the tips for prospecting, creating that templatized holiday messaging, reaching out to your top accounts that way, whether they're existing customers or maybe just opportunities you've been chasing for a while. Take advantage of the out of office extraction. And then also this is how you can come in and work some of those closed lost opportunities, whether it's from the opportunities page or maybe just the prospects page. But throw your questions at us. We're going to keep moving on to how to clean up your outreach environment in just a moment. But Jacob, I'll have you share your screen.
Sweet. All right. So I saw that question in the chat here. I think someone can probably answer that in the chat as well. But yes, you can also do this from your call list and look at the call dispositions, not just the stages of those prospects. So yeah, absolutely, you can find that. If we have a moment at the end, maybe we'll jump in and show you what that looks like. Cool. Right. So next thing, close more deals before the end of the year. We're going to jump into the platform and show you some more goodness and hacks about how to find this information. Well, the first one is reviewing the Outreach deal health scores. Right. This is one of the newest and greatest features of Outreach. It brings the whole platform together, and that is understanding what needs to happen next, right? Outreach is going to actually use AI to tell us what things have not happened for that account. And I'm getting maybe ahead of myself because I'm excited about this feature, if you haven't noticed. Anyway, we're going to have JT show us exactly what that looks like. Okay, the next one is creating a target list of top accounts, right? And starting to do some work with your AEs and our SDRs, depending what your role is, and then bringing in leadership and to help move those deals forward, right? But without that list of top accounts, it's really hard to go in and say, oh, what's the next one? Oh, okay, where's the next one? Right? We can just have that list and share it with the people, share it with our SDRs, share it with our AEs, share it with our leadership. Now they can see those lists and we can start to work them in tandem. And the last one is checking nurtured prospects from earlier in the year for bad timing and using a competitor. I kind of spilled the beans on this earlier when JT was talking about the opportunity, but these are the 3 things that will help you close more deals before the end of the year happens. Okay. So JT, let's jump into reviewing the deal health score. Do you want to share the screen again and show us what that looks like?
Let's do it. All right, hopping in. All right, everyone see my screen. I've got our ops view back up, and instead of looking at close lost in the last 90 days, now we're looking at stuff set to close in the upcoming, either in the upcoming quarter. And again, you can change this depending on whatever your needs are. I'm just looking at for the next 90 days, right? What's right in front of us, right? What's for the next 90 days? What do we say we're going to close? And in this view, I want you to get in the mindset of an AE, of a full cycle seller, and also one of their manager, right? When you want to review the health of your opportunities, we give you a couple different ways to look at it, right? Historically at Outreach, we've always given you the way to look at it from a pure engagement standpoint. So have you been talking to them? But now we've added something called Deal Health Score. What Deal Health Score does is it not only tells you how engaged you are, but what do you need to focus on, right? Including suggested actions. And I'm actually going to mouse over RealCube, one of our ones that are set in the 60s, meaning we've got a little bit of a warning sign, right? And we give you pretty simple coloring as in green, yellow, red, right? Green means you're probably in good shape. Yellow means you might want to look at this when you do a deal review with your manager. And red means, hey, we got some work to do, or we need to DQ it, we need to close it out, we need to move on, we need to push it back, right? Whatever that motion is. So that's our simple green, yellow, red markers. Now within these, what I want to share with you as an example is this RealCube new logo. It's our demo op, so don't worry, there's no real information being shared here. But what you're understanding is the engagement of what's going on, but not only just engagement, but also what's happening at the op level exactly, right? Are we pushing out the close date? Because Outreach recognizes that's a signal that you need to be bearish about this op. You need to be concerned. You need to look into it. Why are we pushing out close dates? Have we engaged a department or multiple departments within the last 30 days, right? We can take that as a positive or negative signal. And then also identifies areas that we should be using to focus on this deal. So in this case, and this is something actually internally at Outreach that we say is, if you don't have a success plan, it's not a real deal, right? And that's a way to look at areas to focus on. Now, if you don't know what success plan is, don't worry. We'll get to that in a moment. But it's identifying things that you can be working on to improve the health of this deal, right? Do you have meetings set? Do you have any that you've created in the last 30 days? And each of these different signals is contextual. It's not going to be exactly the same across the board. So it looks and it identifies based on the opportunity data, based on the engagement data from Outreach, and based on how the deal is forecasting, that here's what it looks like, right? Here's the true health of your deal. And it not only does that, but it suggests actions. So it says, hey, you need to go schedule a meeting. Why? Because you don't have anything set in the future, right? Or create a follow-up task or send an email. Get on the phone with this person. Get a hold of them, right? Because we're losing our grip here. So this is a great way in a deal review situation to quickly at a glance identify folks or opportunities you want to focus on, as opposed to others which are sitting pretty, right? Will LLC in this case not only has great health insights, but I can see at a glance here on my success plan that it's actually up to date. We have our next steps, we're aligned, we're in the proper stages, we're moving forward, right? On the flip side, if we go back to our RealCube, we don't have a success plan in place. So what does Outreach do? It tells you to go ahead and take action, right? Go ahead and make the success plan, and then it can take you over to a plan and where you can actually go and complete the mutual action plan you can set up with your customer. This is something Outreach has recently been working towards and building towards, is not only creating the pipeline, but helping you close it and giving you actionable ways to do that, right? Not just give you a glass view of your opportunity that you already know by heart as an AE. It's letting you take action and telling you, hey, what could you be doing to improve the health of the deal?
JT, we've got some great questions and some comments happening. Can you speak to whether the Health Insights is an add-on?
So Health Insights today, if you have if you have Outreach Guide, it comes part and parcel with it. So there is no separate add-on for the Health Insights. It is available today if you have Outreach Guide, which includes Outreach Kaya, along with the success plans that I've shown, as well as Health Insights. It can be made available. Yeah.
So if your org does not have the full suite, talk to your AE. That's something that can be updated. And then another great question, can I filter this list based on health score so I can essentially see my riskiest deals first?
Yes, you absolutely can. So if I go into my filters here and I select health, I can at minimum look at stuff that's on track, needs review, and is at risk. So that's one layer to do it. The other is to sort by health, right? So I can look at either my healthiest deals, or in all honesty, what our managers often do is go, let's look at the bottom feeders. What do we got to work on, right? What needs the most help fastest? Let's account for it and approach it that way.
And this is a great opportunity to use what we just learned about, that personalized holiday template. You can reach out with, no sales message at all, but like to reconnect person to person, send out that holiday message to really any of your ops. Also, max out that Sendoso or postal or whatever gifting. Like, this is the time of year. If you've got credit, use it.
Yes, cannot recommend it enough. So just to show off, here's our list of direct mail integrations. There are others out there in the wild. I'm sure they're building. I hear about them every other day. But the ones that we know most commonly, right, Sendoso folks use, they've got lots of credits sitting there. Go out and use them, right? And I think in terms of closing opportunities, it's a great way to bubble up your op. It's a great way to bubble up your connection with a customer or would-be customer. So please feel free to use this. Just again, to share, it's not just about having it as a Chrome extension. It's actually baked into the Outreach workflow. So when we look at things like Deal Health Insights, it can recognize, hey, you sent someone something on Sendoso, and it can factor that in your health score. You can even have a trigger that goes out, right? And now we're getting a little bit more into the advanced operational side. I recognize that too. But for any of the admins, operation teams, just be aware of that as well as a potential option for your holiday automation.
Yeah, I just want to add something to this too, because when we look at these opportunities and see the ones that are not likely going to close, right? Or maybe the risk is so low that it's not worth the Sendoso send, right? It's not worth using our credits to send those folks something. One of the best AEs that I've ever worked with said that he spends more of his time disqualifying than he does qualifying, right? And so when we look at these health scores, it's really about us cleaning up our pipeline, cleaning up so that we are not overinflated or underinflated with what's actually going to happen, right? We want to get as close to our number as possible for a lot of different reasons, right? If we're just sandbagging, then we might be at risk in the future for the money and the budget that we could have had with our team had we not sandbagged, right? Or if we're under reporting our deals and getting way below our number, then we're putting our future teams at risk, our CSMs, our account managers, all these downstream consequences by us not having a very clean or accurate pipeline. So this health score, I think, is something that if more people use, we can have healthier businesses as a whole.
Couple of questions / comments just to reiterate. We got the question again of, my outreach doesn't have the $ section on the left, which is the opportunity section. Again, that's something, come talk to Jacob and I. We can help you map that. But that is something that needs to be built into your outreach platform. Another comment that came across just now is the comment is, I do have the essentially ops in outreach, the $, but it's only showing me closed won, closed lost, not open ops. Is this something that we should talk to an internal admin about, or is it a premium feature?
Not a premium feature. Definitely talk to your administrator about it, right? Because it's simply a matter of syncing over the right opportunities. So absolutely something that anybody can do. It is not gated in any way as part of your outreach payment plan. That being said, any and all pricing questions, this is where I get to be. I'm just the technical guy. Please do talk to your outreach account executive. They know far more than even myself or any of the three of us on this call related to cost of features associated. So I want to give that a bit of safe harbor for everyone on the call today.
And we'll share our LinkedIn information for those who maybe you have it, but it just needs to be optimized. That's what Jacob and I do all day long. So LinkedIn info coming at the end, and then you will also have this recording.
All right, JT, since you're already sharing your screen, let's talk a little bit about creating those target accounts, because I know we're getting into the opportunities and looking at the health score, but for the people who don't have opportunities yet, the ones who are a little bit earlier, top of funnel, middle funnel, we want to create these top account lists so that we can share them with other folks within the organization, whether they're our AE, our SDR that we're working in tandem with, or our leadership. So tell us a little bit about how to do that here within Outreach.
Yeah, it's a great call out. This is the perfect time of year to start that exercise. I know for folks on the RevOps side, this is often the year where you're trying to figure out books of business, how to figure, who needs to go where, territory alignment, all those things. So for anyone on the RevOps side as well listening in, this is also a great opportunity to use this and take action on it using Outreach. So what I'm showing right now is our accounts tab in Outreach. And I have a view that's simply showing an AE SDR collab, meaning these are accounts that are shared by our SDR and maybe an AE who's in the pod with them, right? So just kind of walking through that scenario, what's a great way for us to either go ahead and target the accounts within Outreach, or if you're syncing from your CRM, let's say you have a target account field, how do I get that filter into Outreach so I can give my SDRs, my full cycle sellers, and my AEs the best place to go and find the right accounts at the right time? So I'm going to go through that exercise right now in a couple different ways. There's two ways you can do it in Outreach that I recommend. Number one is you can use tags, and we'll show what that looks like to simply tag something as a target account. And the second, again, is if you have it from your CRM as a field, you have a target account field, right? So I have my list of 31 accounts that Brad Baker, the AE, and Devin Oakley, the SDR, share, right? This is their pod. These are the accounts that they're working. But clearly, maybe Lululemon aside, Morgan Stanley and CME Group stand head and shoulders as target accounts I want to go after, right? So how do I quickly label those in Outreach? I'm going to show you the quick method using tags, and then we'll go through that same filtering process using the target account field if you have one in CRM. The first off is quickly going into tags. I can select those two, go into my tags, hit add, and I can simply pull up target. And now my targeted list shows these target accounts, right? So now when I go into my filters, instead of my 31 accounts across all these places, I just have my 2 accounts. These are my areas of focus. We've got plenty of prospects within them. Let's get sequencing, right? Let's select our prospects like we did with the op, and let's get going.
Yeah, this is amazing. And one thing I want to also share here is the URL at the top of the screen. You can see it's pretty long, but that is a good thing. That is unique to this list with those tags, with all the filters that were added. You could share that link in Slack to your manager, and they'd be able to access this exact list that you're looking at. So there's no backwards way of sharing this with anyone. Just share the link. Whatever you see right here is what the other person that you share it with is going to see as well.
Absolutely. The other opportunity to do that as well is to save it as a view if you have that option. You name your view, and then depending on your sharing capabilities, you can make it private to yourself or available to other folks, and you can share it out that way as well.
And if you only ever want to see that list, you don't want to have to go through all the clicking. Let's say you save the view, you can save a view and make it your default. So then when you come back and you click on the little briefcase on the left, which is your account section, it just snaps directly to that default view.
Yep. Case in point right here, I have my default view set to AE SDR collab. And if you ever want to take a look at any of the ones that either you have or others share, you can take a look there. So that's the process using tags. And I said there were 2 ways. The other way is at a CRM level, if you have that field already set up, and let's say your RevOps team says, here's your target accounts, right? We're going to do this for you, or you're going to do it in your CRM, and we want that to trickle in to your Outreach so you can have it reflected here. As we know, Outreach can not only sync over standard fields from the lead and contact into the prospect, it can also do that for custom fields. So in this case, let's say I have my target account field, And I have it as a simple checkbox, which makes it true or false, right? My target account is true. Voila, suddenly I have those same target accounts that are synced from my CRM over into Outreach, right? I don't need to live on a Salesforce report or a Salesforce list view to do this exercise. I have it baked right into Outreach, right? A lot of those Salesforce reports you might be living out of today, you could easily build a series of filters within Outreach to quickly take action. Leslie, Jacob, any other additions on that?
Yeah, I think to the point of custom fields, team, if you're looking at this and you're thinking, well, there's data in Salesforce that I need that's not in Outreach, those are great use cases for creating those custom fields. So all Outreach customers have the ability to have their own unique fields and identifiers and bring in that data that's maybe unique to your business. So talk to your admins, talk to your leadership if that's something that is currently not being leveraged or maybe not being leveraged entirely. That's something that can be built pretty easily.
All right, I've shown a lot of Outreach for us today. There's an anonymous question: how can I create an account manually? Great question. There is a way, depending on your capabilities. Again, depending on your profile and what you're allowed to do, you can always hit Add Plus Account and start building that account as well. Be cautious of that. If you have a CRM, you want that to be able to sync data over if there's an existing account. But just in terms of raw capabilities and ClickPath, you just go to Plus Account, create your account, and you're good to go.
I will say big word of caution there. Please check with your admins first, because oftentimes the plugin is not designed to send all the stuff back and forth every time. Oftentimes it's designed to send from CRM to Outreach, and it might not send new stuff from Outreach back to Salesforce. And that's because of the conditions in your Salesforce and technical blah, blah. But just check with your admins before you go rogue and start creating stuff in Outreach.
That's right. We always want to be on the good side of our admins. Speaking of which, I think does that take us over to our cleanup section? Or I think we have one more bit, Jacob, that you touched on, which is check nurtured prospects from earlier in the year.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. If you wanted to show it again, I think people would probably get a lot out of it. But yeah, we can just jump into cleanup too.
Yeah, we'll a quick touch back to going back through those nurtured prospects and finding a way to quickly, again, filter them at the top of the page. If you have different close reasons, even better. All the more reason to make sure your outreach stages are set up for scalability. Admins, managers, anyone listening on that side. And we'll actually get into some of that in the next segment.
Another great question. Can you tag opportunities?
It's a great question. I have not thought about that. I believe you can. It's
I
not
think
something I've had to
you
think
can
about.
tag just about anything in Outreach, but let's
Yes,
find
you
out.
can. Yeah, you can tag opportunities. Yes, you can.
Yes. Perfect. So just like we were doing with the accounts, right? Your top 10 accounts, you can do your top 10 opportunities, or the top opportunities that you want to close, end of year opportunities, things like that. So a lot of the things we're showing you today don't need to be like, take them with a grain of salt, because your process is going to be a lot different from any other person in the world. It's kind of this thing when people ask me, what's the best practice for using outreach? Well, it's like, that depends on you and your company and how you want to do, and your managers and your coworkers, right? It's like really depends on you and your organization. So, we can give you all the technical things that you can do to make your life a lot easier, but you're going to have to mold that into your process, into your ecosystem at your companies. Right. So the next thing we're going to talk about kind of segues from what JT was mentioning around like keeping the accounts in order, keeping your opportunities in order, because when we start to find those accounts and opportunities, we want to make sure that we can start engaging the people who are actually within them, right? If you have prospects that are stuck in a sequence, or they're failed at some point or been paused, when you go to re-engage them, they're going to be stuck in the sequence that they were already in. This is just one aspect of a cleanup that we need to talk about. Okay. So there's a few different things for you all as prospectors, if you're a prospector, your AE or SDR, that you can do in outreach to make sure that your system's cleaned up. Okay, and I'm going to go through this list, and then we're going to have Leslie jump into the platform and show you what it looks like and how to clean it up. Okay. So the first one is if you have hundreds of old tasks, right? Those need to be cleaned up immediately, right? If you have prospects that have had a task that's a week old, 2 weeks old, I mean, 2 weeks is well beyond the time that you should be cleaning this up. But those prospects are not going to be in the flow of what that sequence was meant to be, right? You might have had someone create that content for you, and it has an email today and a phone call tomorrow, and then another email 2 days later. But if they get stuck in one of those steps, the content is not going to flow the way that it should, and we're less likely to convert that prospect. Right?
And there's a right way and a wrong way of cleaning it up. So we'll show you that in a sec.
Yeah, absolutely. Quick, I guess, spoiler alert, don't delete them. Okay, we'll show you that. All right, next one is reviewing the sequence state. Right? Identify any of your paused and stalled prospects. Right? These people might have been paused for any given reason. One reason could be that you deleted the task. Right? If you delete tasks, it'll pause your prospect, and that prospect will be literally stuck in that sequence forever until you go to your sequence states and realize, why is this prospect paused? I don't know why it's paused. And then you have to go do a bunch of research and figure out why it happened, when really it was just because you deleted the task or something like that. So anyway, we'll show you how to review your sequence states. Right? Review sequence failure reasons. Right? This could be that the template variable did not populate, or you tried to send someone a message that was from a reply step without a parent message. There's a few different reasons why things fail. But when they fail, they also are stuck. Right? So when you're trying to close out these deals and re-engage prospects at the end of the year, you won't be able to re-engage paused or failed prospects, okay, until you fix these things. Review bounce reasons. This allows you to go do an export and enrich that data directly from Outreach. Not all reps have the ability to export, but you can make a list of those prospects that you want to send to demand gen or to marketing and get some assistance enriching the data from those prospects, so you're not continually getting bounces from bad email addresses. Okay. All right. So if you're an admin, there's some other things that you can do to clean up the instance. Cleaning up teams and collections to keep the content fresh. I just actually had someone reach out to me on LinkedIn today asking, okay, I've set up collections, but I can't see them. We don't even know how to utilize the collections right now. Well, you have to set up teams as well and assign those collections to the team. So this is an opportunity for you to go in there as an admin and make sure that teams and collections are working as they should. Because no one's going to tell you that they're not working if they don't know how they're supposed to work, right? So there's two-pronged there. Okay. The next one is reviewing your team's overdue tasks and helping them remove those stalled prospects from the sequence. This is really going in and doing kind of a mass cleanup job, saying, hey, rep, you have this many, this person has this many, and actually informing them. Depending on the size of your team, this might be a job for the manager. One person managing 1,000 reps might have a lot of work to do in this case, but your direct managers can also help here.
And also worth mentioning too, we're talking to folks like reps. If you're still in your role, you can do the cleanup for yourselves, but admins and leaders, if you've got people who have left roles in the past and that cleanup never took place, that's potentially hijacking hundreds, if not thousands of prospects. So look at the folks that have either been promoted or left your team. This isn't something that you should probably be looking at in an ongoing cadence, whether it's monthly or quarterly. And yes, this recording will be sent out, plus the deck.
Yeah. Take a screenshot of this if you don't already have some plan in place to do this cleanup. And then the last one is cleaning up your content, right? Your sequences that are no longer being used, that are old, that are antiquated, right? These are just clogging up the vision of all of your reps, and speaking directly to admins and leaders. And if you're a rep and you notice this and you're like, all these sequences are trash, nobody uses them anymore, that's a perfect opportunity to go archive them. Right? When we can get rid of all that noise, it makes it easier for our brains to use what's fresh, use what's available, use what's best, right? That's the whole point of being able to report on how outreach is working for you, is to deprecate the old thing and iterate on it and make new content. You constantly need to be making new content, right? One sequence is not going to serve you for years of using outreach. You're going to have to refresh it. There's always going to be new best practices. Okay? So clean up that content, and this is gonna really step up the game of all of the reps on the team.
Can you answer the question, why archive and not just delete?
Yes, do not delete because you will lose all of your historical data for that sequence, right? When you're looking at the reports in Outreach, it's looking at every single piece of content that you've ever utilized and sent emails to, right? So if you had one sequence and you sent 5 to 8,000 prospects through a sequence, just for example's sake, and you delete that sequence, you're going to have less now on your reporting and dashboard to show what was working and what was not. Right. In order to iterate on that content and to understand what you need to do better, you need to look at what didn't work before. But if you delete it, not only can you not look at it, but Outreach can't analyze the data and tell you what was happening in the past. So that is the main reason. If there's any others, Leslie, JT, let me know. But that's the reason I would say not to delete any content.
Great point. Quick time check, everybody. We've got about 8 minutes till the end of the hour. We've still got some ground to cover. So in just a moment, I'm going to be hopping in and showing you sequence states. I'll show you the right way to clean it up, and I'll show you the wrong way. So we're going to show you the cleanup live. Our final slide here is we're just going to kind of talk through some topics that we've already gone over that will help set you up for success in 2023. So let me share my screen and pop back into our demo environment. All right, so as I mentioned, there's a right way and there's a wrong way. Let me show you both. What you absolutely never want to do, let me move some stuff around real quick. Let's say you're a rep and you've been logging into Outreach every day, hopefully. And unfortunately, maybe you've been staring at the same like super old stuff and you're just like, yeah, I'm never going to get to it, but you just kind of overlook it. Well, now's the time to do that cleanup. What you don't want to do is come in here and delete tasks. Can anybody guess why you don't want to delete a task? And I'm looking at chat. Pop into chat if you know why that's a real bad idea. What does that do to the sequence? They get stuck in a sequence. Man, y'all are quick. That's exactly right. That puts them in sequence purgatory, and we want to avoid that because it doesn't solve the underlying problem. Like if they're super old tasks and I'm never going to get to it, I want to clean it up and get them out of sequence so somebody else or even myself can put them into a new fresh sequence. So the proper way of doing that is this little magical report called sequence states. That is over on the left. You're actually going to click on your initials to get there. And I love the question that was asked, can admins disable the delete feature for users? Wah, wah. Currently, no. But JT, maybe you can talk to the powers that be at Outreach.
I'll get right on it.
There you go. Perfect. So heading over here, the good news is if they land in sequence purgatory, you can still fix it. Let me show you how. So over on the left, we're going to click on our initials. And it's at the very, very bottom of this column here. Now, depending on your level of permissions, this column of information might be kind of short, or it might be really long, like what you're seeing here. The thing is, it's always going to be at the bottom there. So sequence states is where you can go and do that safe cleanup. There's a lot to look at here. I'm just going to boil it down to a couple of pointers. For example, let's say you do have some people who landed in sequence purgatory. Those are considered paused. Sometimes they are paused for a good reason, like you got an out of office and it will resume them automatically for you. Those I'm not worried about. That's fine. But if they're paused because the sequence got disabled, or maybe there isn't really a reason why they're paused, they're just showing paused with no resume date, those are ones that you're going to want to come in here and clean up. So you'd select who you want to do who you're cleaning up. One recommendation before you take any mass action. So if I'm going to go in here and take these 4 people out of sequence, well, maybe my goal is after that, I want to go put them in a new fresh sequence. You need to be able to find them again. So my recommendation is tag before you take any mass action here. So I might add a tag of like sequence cleanup with the date and my initials or something like that. Once they're tagged, then I'm safe to come up here and mark them finished in sequence. Pointer, if you ever hit remove, it wipes all the data that they were ever in the sequence. So it's kind of like your oops lever of like, get them out of here. I would not hit remove unless I truly made a mistake and put them in the wrong thing. Instead, I would simply mark them finished. Same thing goes for failures and bounces. You should be taking a look at this stuff frequently. Failures, it's going to potentially tell you why it failed. And a lot of times this is fixable. So for example, let's say I put this person into a sequence. Well, the sequence has a template where there's a missing variable. I could go fix that and I could resume the sequence. Or this one was used improperly. So keep an eye on your failures, do that cleanup, get them out of this failed state. Bounces, you can also report on as well. Sometimes it will tell you, sometimes it won't. I happen to know that these 3 examples here, they're wrong email addresses. So I could go clean up the emails, get them back into sequence. So again, the way I got here is I clicked on my initials. I scrolled all the way down to sequence states. It's going to show you everything that you personally have sequenced. Pay attention to the paused stuff, your failures and your bounces. If you have folks that are active in sequence, but they're like super, super old, let's say they've been in there for weeks or months or God forbid more, come in here and do that cleanup and mark them finished in sequence. So,
well, I just want to add to this. First of all, Leslie, this is fantastic. The failed prospects, I was working with a customer about a month ago. They had about 50,000 failed prospects in outreach, right? And just to put that into context for you, those 50,000 prospects are people who are qualified to be receiving some type of communication, right? Sometimes we look at Salesforce and outreach and we're like, oh, this person's trash or this is bad data, whatever, blah, blah, blah. These 50,000 prospects are the people who passed the test, right? These are the people who you chose personally to put in a sequence and are now not receiving that first touch point at all, or whatever touch point they're on, right? They're not receiving it. So that could be your pipeline. That could be why your pipeline is so light. You have 50,000 failed prospects, and obviously not one person should have 50,000 failed prospects ever. But as an org, you have 50,000 failed and you're missing your number, right? This could be why that's happening, right? So make sure you're cleaning this up. This is literal money that you're leaving on the table by not allowing outreach to be flowing smoothly. It's kind of like damming up a river, right? The more and more you have failed, the more and more it's going to be dammed, right? So we need to clean that out soon as possible.
So let's head out of here. I'm going to stop sharing. Jacob, if you want to take back over, we're going to leave you off with some pointers for 2023. We're just going to talk through these topics because a lot of this we've actually already seen before.
Yep.
So to tackle 2023 successfully, we strongly recommend take the time before the holidays to make those target lists. You know, if you're an SDR collaborating with an AE or maybe several AEs, I would probably want to go build those saved views now. So then you've got mutual access going into the new year and you kind of know who's in sequence, who's tackling what. Also, it is possible, granted we didn't show you this, but it is possible to future sequence emails. So if you're going into an account and you're like, you know what, I'm going to be out for 2 weeks, but I want to make sure that when I'm back, those sequences kick off the day I'm back, you can future schedule your sequences. Additionally, one of the tips that one of my friends who's an AE over at Outreach, she uses all the time, like if you're taking time off during the holidays, you're going to come back to a jam-packed inbox as well. So how do you prioritize? Well, if you're leveraging the extension, there's going to be that little purple dot. Keep in mind, you have to be logged into Outreach at the same time as logging into your Gmail, but look for the purple dot. If you're scanning your inbox, like who do I get back to first? The prospects with the purple dot, those are probably your priority emails. The other stuff that aren't prospects, maybe those emails can wait. All right. And with that, we're at time. Apologies. I hope we got actually a chance to answer most of your questions throughout today's session, but happy to hang out and answer questions as needed. Oh, and then next slide, please, before you hop, connect with us on LinkedIn. We may potentially be doing more of these, but also Jacob and I are more than happy to run a consultation. If there's things that you saw today that maybe your organization isn't leveraging, please reach out to us. We're happy to help.
Thank you so much, you guys. Leslie, Jacob, JT. So insightful, so many knowledge bombs, so many questions answered. I know there were still so many more coming in. So what I've done, and I'll do it again, I'm going to post our Outreach customer channel in the chat. This is actually a brand new function on Sales Hacker. It's specifically for our Outreach customers who have questions like what you guys are asking. we're going to be hanging out there. I'm always hanging out there, so you can always ask a question and I'll do my best to help. But us four, are going to be there for the next couple days, just trying to answer your questions asynchronously, trying to get you those answers and that visibility. So make sure you pop your questions in there and or connect with us all on LinkedIn. But the more you post on Sales Hacker, the more other folks can see it and share it. So we thought that would be a great way for you guys to get that information. Furthermore, as you probably know and heard and saw, all of this is recorded. All of these resources will be shared out with you. So if you missed something, you had to step away, a kid was screaming in the background, we got you. Don't worry about it. This is our gift to you. And again, a big thank you to JT, Jacob, and Leslie for your time today. Thanks all. Hope you all have a happy and healthy holiday season. We'll see you in the new year.